atheists and agnostics, I get it. I mean, I don't have a problem with, growing up in this world and looking around and saying, oh, this is all bullshit, and, this God thing's bullshit, and, I make my own way, and I'm doing good, and, okay, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying they're going to hell because I don't believe they're going to hell.
Right.
I believe that God saved all man before the world began, which is, try to tell man that, that's a bunch of bullshit. You can't hardly tell man anything, but I get that. I mean, I have a problem with understanding where they're coming from.
That kind of goes back to our body talk, like, hey, that's the hand believing what the hand believes, and that's fine. I'm not convincing the hand to go believe the arm. You and I don't have to agree on gravity, but gravity just is, so you can not believe in it if you don't want to. It's fine.
I don't have a problem with it at all.
Right.
I love you, buddy.
I know, right? It's fine.
Right. I probably get along better with those guys than the freaking Christian dropping his law on me.
Right.
And let's talk about
The guilt.
Corinthians chapter 3.
Yeah. You should be guilty. Yep.
And we ought to, I'm telling you what, I'm going to do an ad right now.
Okay. Oh, what do you got?
Ladies and gentlemen, you need to get the wild sweet orange.
Right. Repping for the
It's looking good, isn't it?
It is good.
You need some more, Tom?
yeah, some heat would be good.
Let's see if you got some. We got to get back over to the resort sometime,
For sure. That was great. It's a nice place.
I was sitting there the other day and I was thinking, oh God, this is ridiculous.
What's that?
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You sit in a place like that.
It's
Here's
really nice.
here's Knucklehead Dan from, Knucklehead nowhere, right?
Indiana, baby.
And then I got all these people that I go to places around Boca. I go to get my hair cut or whatever. Oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
You go to the resort, and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just like, thank you,
Right. It's a good place.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty cool. But anyway, wow, we talked about all this stuff, but for me, I can't imagine going through life believing in myself, being a self-believer.
Well, the death to self is a tough one, and the lack of free will is a tough one for a lot to understand. So I heard someone tell me the other day they die to self every day because their ego tries to creep back in.
Yeah, right.
So it's not like a one-time.
They're still working on it.
It's like
They're still working on it.
Yeah. So the self creeps back in.
Yeah.
What's some?
Why do they keep saying? Why do they keep? Tell me, why do you think the self keeps creeping in? What? Because of some action you did, or what? What is that? I'd have to. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here we are back into thinking that ought not have happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can't get away from this is right and that's wrong.
Right.
We can't get away from that belief system. So now, if we're doing the good thing,
Expecting good. Yeah.
well, we'll do the good thing and we're operating correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And we're keeping our ego away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If we do a bad thing, oh, ego showed up. It's kind of like that Christian thing, we're in the will or out of the will of God, right?
Yep.
Based on how we're doing.
What you say is, well, did it happen?
This is what I'm saying.
Did it happen?
You got to start out with it's finished.
Mm-hmm.
It's done.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I talking about Dan?
It's finished.
What's that got to do with anything?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, then Dan, it goes back to, I mean,
compute.
even Jesus tried pushing his will over God's will. And that's a pretty, like when Jesus knew he was going to go to the cross, he said, Father, please take this cup away from me. He didn't want to do it. But then he finally said, you know what? Your will,
Well, Jesus
not my
was
will.
operating in this flesh world.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about evidence, you know,
Even he
the
couldn't.
guy's got to go to the cross and hang on a freaking cross for 3 days
Right,
to let you know he loves you.
yeah. But even he didn't want to do
I
it.
mean, see, look, what I'm seeing
At
is
that
there's
point.
things that happen in our life.
Mhm.
Well, look at what God did with his son. Well, who was his son? Well, they aren't separate beings, they're one.
Yeah.
What did he do to himself?
Yeah.
Well, he went and hung on a cross for 3 days.
Yeah.
Let people spit on him and all
Jab-
kinds of crap.
Right, torture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think he understands what you're going through.
Yeah. And it really boils back to trust. Like you said, look, you're talking about God, it's everything. God is all, right? And in the world, okay, did that circumstance happen? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it sucks. Like from my perspective, I don't get it. If I was God, I probably would do something differently, but God's God and we don't see that whole perspective. So it happened, and that's life. And the quick thing about it is, we're done with this whole journey in the blink of an eye anyhow, regardless of how long we live. None of us make it out of here alive in this 3D flesh body we have. So we can go through it with fear and worry and concern, or we can go through it with faith.
And this is all, I mean, Peter said it perfect.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't clearly understand what he's talking about. I don't clearly understand what this guy's about.
Mhm.
But I know he's got the words of eternal life.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to trust him.
Mhm.
I'm just going to trust him.
Yep. Don't quite understand it, but my heart does.
I'm going to put my faith in this thing I can't see.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's it. That's it. That's how I'm going to walk through life.
Mhm.
That's it.
Mhm.
Okay? So if you want to know God, that's it. Because it ain't going to make sense.
Yep.
It's not going to make sense. But I can tell you this now, since I crossed over the Jordan a long time ago,
Mhm.
you want to talk about something that doesn't make sense? That doesn't make sense.
Right. Right.
That makes no sense to me at all.
But God's the architect. So God, I don't understand it, but you do. So
You know me, I sit in coffee shops, right? I listen to people talk and I just go, what?
yeah, it's a madhouse out there. I mean,
And
from our perspective.
these are educated people.
Yeah.
They're educated people.
Well, look in there. Look at all the stories in there. This
Okay.
story here.
No, sure.
2,000 plus years ago.
Right.
Humanity's been crazy since humanity was introduced here. So, I mean, it's going to continue to be crazy, especially from our perspective in this being here in it. But God's got it, and it is. It's how it is.
I mean, man, I tell you what, can you imagine living in Germany back with Hitler? I mean, there had to be people in Germany that were sitting there going, what?
Right. Yep. This is wild, right? What the heck is going on? Yeah.
What?
Poland, yeah, all
Can
of
you
it.
imagine Poland?
All that, yeah.
Like, it had to be like,
Rounding people up.
What
You're like,
in the heck?
something seals off, but no one did anything, you know,
Right.
and it happened the way it happened. But yeah, it's like the world is nuts.
I mean, I don't know how many there were, but there had to be somebody in Germany going, wow, humanity is just nuts.
Right. Yep. I'm sure a lot.
But anyway, I guess the idea of believing in something else other than yourself
Mm-hmm. Well, and when
is better, I guess.
you know, I'm a wrestler, I'm a Marine, you know, in my history, right? So the word submit is not something that comes easy to me, right? But when I submit to God's will, I detach from any outcomes that I have. And I just am going through the day, doing what I feel called to do, just being in the moment. And when I'm in the moment, in the present, which so many different religions and philosophies talk about, of the power of being in the present, not worried about the past, not worried about the future, being fully present,
Right.
is kind of living in that beauty that God's given us of this experience. And it's kind of I wonder what's next. Okay, I'm gonna take this next step, and new things come in, and challenges and chaos comes. And I used to hate change and chaos and challenges. Now it's like, well, that's part of the game. And until I'm dead and buried, it's gonna be part of the game. Just go with it. And okay, oh wow, I didn't expect that. I don't quite understand it, but what do I feel called to do now? And just being present has allowed me to do things. We chat about how life has just had these twists and turns that we could have never foretold.
Right.
We just followed our heart. I mean, you followed your heart up driveways and talked with people at jobs, and it led to different paths. And, you know, following our heart of just that guidance of what feels like the right thing to do. And instead of ignoring it, I've done that before, where I've tried pushing away from knowing what was mine to do. But when I embrace it, I mean, geez, we talked about the one time I was in Rochester, New York. My mom had just kicked me out, and my heart was telling me to go to New York City. I didn't know anyone in New York City. I only had $60 to my name in this old beat-up car. I went and ran into my stepfather at 3 in the morning on the streets of New York City when I was about to go live on the streets or live in my car. I mean, that's a wild, crazy example, but that was following the intuition. And I wasn't raised religiously, but I talked to God and said, hey, I might die in New York City. I might live in my car. I might live on the streets. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But, you know, if you are willing to guide me in any way, I'd be open to it. And I crossed paths with my stepfather and stayed with him. I mean, that's how, like, just follow your intuition. Will it always work out?
Well, we can only do what we know, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, man needs to figure it out. You know, that's why this book talks about doing things without thought. You know, there's stuff going on with Ann and I right now that, you know, just doing stuff. We're like, wow, okay, this is going to be interesting.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So, but see, that's to me, that's the excitement.
Of the journey, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, what do you want to do next?
Mm-hmm.
What are you up to now?
Right.
You know? You kidding me? And then I don't get caught. We don't get caught up with trying to figure out, oh, what's God's doing? What is God doing here? Oh, I know what He's doing. You know?
Just go with
No.
the intuition.
Oh, the door opened up. Oh, let's walk through that one.
Right. Right.
We got this idea that, you know, if we go to the left, you know, go do that, He's not going to be able to take care of us if we go to the left.
And screw up the whole system.
Screw up the whole freaking, you know.
Couldn't handle
you know,
that.
Oh my gosh, He's not going to be, if we go here,
He's got it all
He's not
covered.
going to be able to take care of us.
Yep.
You know.
Every
We did the wrong thing. I did a good one today.
there is no wrong or right path.
It's
It's
just-
the path that you.
We're doing it to ourselves. This mind
Yep.
is killing us.
Yep.
That belief system.
Yep.
And so,
Well, this belief system. Sadly, I'd love to chat longer. I've got more things that are on my agenda to do, responsibility-wise. So I'd love to chat longer, but I think we got some good chats
you know
here.
what I'm going to do? I'm going to go work out.
There you go. There you go. Perfect. That's perfect. Here at the gym or here over at the resort?
My lift day was yesterday, so I lift every other day. So I go here,
Mhm.
and then I go over there.
Perfect.
So I do some other things over there.
Perfect. Cool.
And, what a day, huh?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. I'm glad we were able to connect again. I had that 5 days. I was in a 5-day live online summit from 8 in the morning until midnight for days 1 through 4, and 8 in the morning until 8 p.m. day 5. That was crazy. I will never do that again, but it was worthwhile. I spread the joy, did what I felt was mine to do, brought the love, impacted lives from the feedback, and I just followed. That's what it's mine to do, and I'm glad it's over, and we'll see what's mine to do next.
Yeah.
That's it. But it's good to be out of that and good to be back.
Yeah.